However, there's been some critics saying some stuff in it.
Really?
Rob, I don't know if you have any of the critic stuff or not.
The drama surrounding Katy Perry's ill-fated spaceflight was already a firestorm of public scrutiny, awkward interviews, and relentless memes. But then, South Park entered the orbit, and what was once a cringe-laced viral incident became a cultural autopsy. This wasn't just mockery. This was demolition with surgical precision. The creators of South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, were not sharpening their comedic blades for a light jab or a fleeting gag. No, according to industry whispers, they were preparing something far more brutal. An entire storyline devoted to torching Katy Perry's Blue Origin space fiasco. And if there's one thing you learn watching South Park for years, it's that when they dedicate an episode to you, it rarely ends with a gentle nudge. It ends in scorched earth. It all began with what was supposed to be a milestone. Katy Perry, pop megastar, boarding a Blue Origin capsule alongside other high-profile women, including journalist Gayle King and Jeff Bezos' partner Lauren Sanchez. The mission had all the trappings of modern empowerment theater, an all-female flight, inspirational messaging, and an icon of mainstream pop culture ready to project strength, resilience, and ambition to the stars and back. But as the capsule ascended into suborbital space, the true trajectory of this mission was spiraling.
Do you have any of this stuff on how they open a door first and then they have to reopen a door and they have to say, go back in there, and then Jeff Bezos...
Not in the sky, but in public perception. The footage was awkward. The messaging hollow, the mission short. A few minutes of weightlessness wrapped in a cocoon of billionaire-funded spectacle. And when Katy stepped off that capsule and kissed the ground like she had just returned from deep space combat, the internet collectively rolled its eyes. What followed was a storm of satire, think pieces, and biting commentary, labeling her mission a glorified amusement park ride dressed up as cosmic transcendence. But just as the social media wave began to subside, South Park lit the fuse again. Leaks from Animation Insider suggested that Parker and Stone were not merely poking fun. They were planning what's known internally as an event episode, a narrative so pointed, so devastating, it would leave a mark not just on the subject, but on the cultural landscape itself. The space ride wasn't the punchline. It was the symptom. The real target? The performative, fame-obsessed culture that fuels celebrity reinvention through spectacles masked as inspiration. Early rumors hinted at a scene involving a Katy Perry stand-in live-streaming her space journey, only for the feed to glitch and expose the artificiality of the moment. Another segment was said to depict Blue Origin as a crumbling amusement park, a ride for the rich and desperate, a last-ditch effort for fading stars to remain relevant. Behind the satire, there was an indictment. This wasn't about scientific progress or female empowerment. It was a PR campaign wearing an astronaut helmet. In one of the more vicious imagined scenarios, the South Park version of Katy tries to deliver an emotional monologue about finding her true self among the stars, only to be interrupted by malfunctioning tech, a plummeting capsule, or even the ghost of real astronauts mocking her for cosplaying their legacy. If that sounds harsh, it's because it is. But harshness is the point. It's what South Park does best: cut through the branding, the hashtags, the polished speeches, and expose the raw, often absurd reality underneath. And the reality wasn't just awkward, it was catastrophic. In the days following the flight,
Flynn, I got you. With her Daisy?
I got you, Flynn.
Katy's public narrative attempted to pivot. There were teary-eyed interviews, carefully filtered Instagram posts, and a now infamous motif, the daisy, her personal symbol of resilience. But in the age of social media hyperliteracy, viewers can sense when something is engineered rather than felt. The daisy didn't land. It ricocheted into meme territory. People weren't inspired. They were bewildered. Meanwhile, insiders claimed Jeff Bezos himself was less than thrilled. The trip, once hailed internally as a new chapter in accessible space travel, had devolved into a meme-fueled PR nightmare. And Katy's overly dramatic post-flight persona, tears, kisses to the earth, vague cosmic metaphors, didn't help. At a private event, Bezos reportedly quipped that he should have sent Snoop Dogg instead. At least then people would be laughing with the mission, not at it. The deeper problem wasn't just Katy's behavior, it was what it represented. The Blue Origin flight was originally marketed as a historic moment for women in science and exploration. But rather than spotlighting astronauts, engineers, or aerospace pioneers, the mission centered celebrities.
Let me tell you right now, Katy, you're officially an astronaut.
The message wasn't empowerment. It was escapism disguised as legacy, and the internet noticed. One post after another began, dismantling the facade. Katy's speeches were auto-tuned into satire. Her daisy became a meme emblem, layered over scenes from Rick and Morty, The Simpsons, and alien invasion films. Her earnestness was mocked not because it was poetic, but because it was performative. In one particularly brutal remix, her voice, layered with sci-fi effects, was paired with footage of cartoon characters pretending to explore space. It wasn't mean-spirited in isolation. It was cultural catharsis, aimed at a generation fed up with authenticity being replaced by marketing. Then came the FAA's final blow, an official clarification that none of the passengers, including Katy, qualified as actual astronauts. The mission was, by federal definition, a joyride, not a scientific voyage, not a feat of human perseverance, just a luxury experience for the rich.
I guess I'm a freaking brain surgeon then.
The backlash erupted again. The symbolism Katy had tried to craft shattered like glass on re-entry. And then came Martha Stewart. In what could only be described as casual shade, Stewart posted a throwback to her own zero-gravity flight. Years earlier, no hashtags, no posturing, just understated elegance. The contrast was surgical. One mission was about curiosity. The other was about optics. Katy's efforts to recast herself as a space-age prophet only made things worse. Interviews became increasingly grandiose. Her Instagram captions more abstract. But with every post, she seemed to drift further from relatability, her stardom morphing into spectacle. Supporters, even diehards, began to question. Was this the artist they had once adored? Or had the vacuum of space also sucked out any semblance of humility? In response, South Park's production team reportedly reveled in the chaos. Animators dropped cryptic hints online, rocket emojis, space helmets, thinly veiled references to fake heroism.
How do you even format your lips to say something so stupid?
The anticipation built. Katy, sources claimed, was not unaware. Her team allegedly scrambled behind the scenes, launching PR damage control strategies, planning charity campaigns, anything to dull the blade. But it was too late. The internet, like South Park, was merciless. The public didn't mind the fact that she went to space. What they minded was the way it was sold to them. The emotional monologues, the faux spiritual awakening, the heavy-handed messaging. It all reeked of branding. And branding can't fly in a world demanding authenticity. Critics even coined a new term for the fiasco, fulmanism. Faux feminism cloaked in luxury and marketing. A movement promising progress, but delivering hollow symbols. The mission had become a masterclass in how not to communicate authenticity in the 21st century. And the daisy, once meant as a symbol of growth, was now a symbol of disconnect. It floated through TikTok and Instagram as a meme of what happens when fame overshadows sincerity.